Hey there guys, so I just woke up and I saw that Riot posted a new dev blog and it was about the items for preseason, so it's gonna be really exciting. And it says the preseason 2021 champion class item goals. So hopefully now they may give us some stats or directions. Is this long? Let's see. It's gonna be kind of a lengthy video, bear with me, but I'll be trying to give my insights and thoughts about these. And it seems like it's just a direction. So this is good. We get to see what they're thinking. Hey everyone, we're really excited to bring another update on preseason's item system overhaul. This will blog will outline specific goals we have to each for class items. Few changes have some stats, work and channels. Still work in progress, so maybe a few changes to these goals by the time preseason goes live. Obviously, stats and effects: healing and grievous wounds. Okay, we're already diving into the juicy stuff. Healing has become more prevalent in the game over the last few years, and we'd like to address a few specific problems. True, I mean, you got Conquer and like people with a bunch of passives and built-in sustain when they shouldn't have it. Healing has become so common that Grievous Wounds has gone from a contextual choice meant for healing heavy games to a viable option in most games. We're looking across runes, items, and champ kits to trim some healing where we think it's unnecessary, which should in turn reduce the necessity of Grievous Wounds options and builds. True. Conquer healing, a lot of runes have a lot of healing. Synergize really well with some Slamal healing in people's kits. And yeah, let me read this other one. I was gonna say maybe they should reduce the effectiveness or increase the effectiveness. On the other hand, Grievous Wounds can sometimes feel underpowered. Yeah, that's exactly what I was gonna talk about when trying to stop a very strong healer, especially when they have snowballed. We're looking to make Grievous Wounds a sharper effect and more effectively counters extreme healing situations and gives up a bit of its upfront power. This is amazing, this second part here, because even when you buy Grievous Wounds now, especially against like super strong healers like Silas, Nunu, maybe Rock and Yumi late game, like man, they still just heal way too much. Like it makes you want to be able to buy 2 executions calling so you can stack the effect, but it obviously doesn't work like that. That's good. I like that they're doing this. Maybe even like I see it come around sometimes, but they should maybe think about making a shield break item or something, a shield effectiveness. Feels like they kind of touched on it by giving Renekton's W a shield break and Blitzcrank's ult a shield break. Hope they talk about it later. Cooldown reduction rework. We're reworking CDR to enable more flexibility in how we use the stat and create clear build choices while we're still feeling the purpose of letting you cast abilities more often. The new stat is called Ability Haste. Okay. I don't know why they changed the name. That's gonna confuse a lot of people. Ability Haste power stacks linearly. Currently, CDR spikes are exponentially so that the more CDR you get, the more valuable it becomes. True. For example, 10% CDR is 11% more cast, while 40% is 66% more cast, and 50% CDR is 100% more cast. Ability Haste will provide a linear power scaling model for ability cast. So 10 ability haste, 10% ability cast. 20% there. So they just want to make it more streamlined for people so it's easy to understand. This makes it so every amount of ability haste you buy has the same impact rather than an exponential one. The conversion of your CDR to haste won't be 1-to-1 because that'd be a flat nerf, which isn't the interaction you should have the potential to reach the same frequency of spell slinging, but the way you get there will be more linear. Worth noting that armor, MR, attacks, and most other stats in the game already scale this way. Yeah, that's true. Everything else does scale that way, actually. Like, you get hover over it when you have like 200 armor, and they'll tell you take 60% reduced physical damage. I guess it's a way to clean it up and make it easier for people, because calculating how valuable CDR is really hard. You just kind of get a feel for it. Ability Haste is uncapped. CDR's multiplicative scaling becomes so powerful that we have to have a 40% cap to limit its power. With the new linear scaling model, we don't need this restriction anymore. This opens up some cool new build options that sacrifice other power to double down on casting fast. I mean, I guess it depends, because I don't think even when you run like Transcendence, Ultimate Hunter, and 45% CDR, people get their ults pretty low. But if you can get it lower than that, it could be problematic, I feel like. It's something you have to try, I guess, because you wouldn't be able to tell by numbers, but depending on how much ability haste is within the game through items, build like proper builds and runes, it could be like super crazy, especially for someone like Lux and stuff. Like people who have low cast, high value ultimates, of course. Tenacity. Ooh, let's see this. I like buying tenacity as is, and it's not a popular enough stat in my opinion. Tenacity is a unique and useful stat, but we think its interactions across different types of crown control are confusing and unintuitive. True. Ideally, we want a player to ask the question, is there a lot of hard CC in this game? And know that tenacity will be effective countering. Towards this goal, we are making a cut change so that tenacity will reduce the duration of knockups. Ooh, I like that. We're not going to have tenacity affect displacement, knockback, or pull spells because their primary purpose is movement, not long duration CC. Also, there are a few ultimate spells in the game where reducing the duration undermines the functionality in a negative way, like Vi-R, so we will be making these knockups plus suppression. Huh. I like this a lot. I mean, they didn't really talk more about tenacity, sadly. I just hope it's on more items, because as is now, like, there's no items that really have it. So you got the elixir pot, Merc treads, and I think that's it for items. Yeah, like you can't really buy it. I mean, Zephyr used to have it, but it's not in the game anymore. And I usually take the Legend Tenacity rune or Unflinchable rune to get my tenacity for tanks. So jungle items. Last preseason included a successful update to starting items for the support role that allowed them to immediately focus on a wider shot for more satisfying options and more choices. We're applying the same treatment to junglers. Jungle items will be a starting item that requires no additional investment. Junglers should get the stats and resource bonuses they need from this item so they can immediately start working on the rest of their build. We're still working out the details like how you can acquire a champion targeted smite, but early tests in this direction has been exceptionally positive. Oh. When we first started work on each item class, we laid out all the items and analyzed their uses over the last few years that helped us determine more specific goals for each class of the champion items. We will hit over all these items as component intended strengths and weaknesses. See, my question here is, well, I mean, it's exceptionally positive, so it must be going pretty well, but my question to them here would be like, since they're like support items and you know you upgrade your support items all the time, like would I have to get like clear a bunch of camps or get a bunch of ganks, or maybe there's like, you know, two different versions like there is in support for lasting the minions and poking them. Maybe there's one for getting successful ganks or getting clearing a bunch of camps for power farmers. So it's hard to comment on this, but if it's going well and it works well, then that means it's probably pretty good, because as is now, like you just buy a lot of junglers like skipping their enchant because they just want to do their build, like because the stats are nice and all, but like it's not as crazy as having a Death Stance passive or Stax Gauge passive. I think this is pretty cool though, overall, for sure. I mean, jungle is a powerful wall, but it isn't meant to have the most gold when played in a team properly. So junglers do need like a way to get more gold. Like if you watch any pro games or you play Clash or with your friends and stuff, and your jungler isn't taxing you, then he's significantly lower gold than the rest of the solo laners and even the EDC at that point. So I think it's cool that they don't have to invest money into the item, and this way they can just start building what's important to them. Marksman items. More strategic choices. Marksmen currently suffer from too many must-buy items. True. Very, very, very true. Some marksmen are so suffered in must-buys they don't buy any defensive situational. They'll just go IE, triple card, triple zeal, and maybe one GA or one bloodthirst or one scimitar. They don't consider maybe having like GA and lifesteal or death stand. Like it kind of does suck for them, but I feel like it's Riot's fault too, because they make those items so must buys in their build. That crowd have most opportunities for situational buying. Our goal is that offer more contextual item choices and integrate essential DPS stats across more items so that these choices become available without giving up a baseline level of damage the class needs to function. See, the problem I always have with them charging marksman items is that although they're geared towards marksmen, it never stops top laners or mid laners or certain champions from abusing those items too. Specifically like Yasuo, Trinity, and Urgot. They're notorious for using their crit items and their marksman items and then nerfing. Like Urgot's the same way. Like Urgot used to thrive off some marksman items, and if they nerf marksman items, Urgot does worse. So it's kind of weird. I feel like they notice now though, because it's happened maybe 3 or 4 times now where a different champ is abusing the item. Like I remember when Storm Razor first came out, that was more of a melee item than it was a reach item now. So I'm sure they'll think about it and hopefully test it out. Look at them out. Agency options. A very common issue that marksman players report is that they are powerful but overly team reliant. I mean, I feel like that's the role and the kits of the champs. So overall, we think that this is a fundamental and healthy element for the class. Yep, that's exactly what she said. But because it creates a differentiated set of roles to create rich team play and strategy. Imagine how much less strategy there would be if every class was the same. But we also think we can introduce some items that will allow marksman players to opt into more tools that help them survive when not supported by a coordinated team. These won't come free though, so to get some of these solo agency players will have to lessen their best in class DPS. Survivability items that offer movement speed, kiting, phage, and probably some active, I would imagine. I don't think this would be like popular items though, but you'd have to see how strong they are, I guess, because if people were really worried about this, they just do it with a good support or a good teammate, I guess. But I can see how it's definitely a problem, especially if you're solo queuing and you have like a numbskull tank who won't protect you at all. Overall, it's just cool to give people options. Options and contextual changes are always welcome. More impact with one item. We still want marksman to be the class that is defined by its late game carry potential, but we're shifting the stats on their first buy slightly so they feel like a more competitive class after one item. True. Marksmen do not come online until 3 to 4 items depending the marksman you choose. Even at one item, most marksmen are still just there to like pebble them down, like they don't really do much. Fill some item gaps. Some games and matchups where make marksmen feel like there is a missing item for what they need. We're looking to offer appropriate options like AD armor item, more spellcaster marksman options, and maybe others. Yes, true. There's no armor pen. There's literally just Whirlwind Miner and Lord Doms, and it's like kind of weird. And not only that, GA is your only AD armor item, and it's not very stat affection. And once the passive is used, it's not that good, and the passive isn't that great unless you have a good team. There's a lot of options that are gaps and options that should be offered to marksmen because there's a lot for bruises and Fridays and supports. Major items. Alright, hopefully they talk about Zanyas. First item choice. Mages today suffer from a set of first items that don't have clear trade-offs or situational purpose, making their first item choice basically predetermined in each meta based on which item is tuned the strongest. In contrast, we think the mid-late options are pretty rich with some unique counter effects and actives. We like mages to have the same rich choices in their first time. True. You just go GLP or you just go Ludens or maybe Oblivion Orb into something else. Like, it's pretty set in stone and it doesn't have any trade-offs either. Like, Ludens is just an all-around good item. GLP is an all-around good item. New iconic effects for artillery mages. Ooh, I like this. I love playing artillery mages even though they kind of suck. We have some exciting ideas to create a fantasy item for artillery mages and emphasize their unique ranging skills. Well, I wish I got a little bit more because honestly love artillery mages. Artillery mages are anyone that shoots back from far range spells. So like Xerath and Ziggs are good examples. Ability haste as a choice. With the rework of cooldown reduction to ability haste, we can use that stat to create another decision point in mage builds. This allows for some super haste focused builds and other powerful builds that give up haste for other gains. So they pretty much want spell slingers, which is kind of cool, I guess, and it would be really, really fun, but just have to see it. AP fighter and AP assassin items. Yes, this stuff is always annoying to see. I know. I personally don't know how I feel about these because I don't know if it's the items or more so the champ. Like example, like Echo and Evelyn feel so bad to play against when they're like a little ahead. When they have 3 kills over you, they usually just dominate. They just obliterate people. So I never feel like it's the items. I always feel like it's the kit design by just having a lot of missing HP damage or true damage in the magic kits. You want to serve a decent sized group of champs with a new class of items because AP fighters and AP assassins are a fairly rare type of champ. True. We should get more AP fighters. I'd be down with that. And not make AP fighters into AP assassins over time. Like Rumble used to be a good AP bruiser. Nowadays he's just a straight up AP mage burst assassin at this point. Like when he goes mid, he just chunks you out, and he's not really tanky anymore. We ended up grouping them for the purpose of building the core item set. This ended up working out well because they tend to need damage early in the game and skew tanky or bursty related choices. Yes, make AP fighters tanky and not like AP assassins. I wonder if like Kennen would want these kind of items. Tailored early build items. These AP changes have been borrowing from mage items for as long as they've existed. We want to offer some early buy choices that match the pattern and stats that they want. Things like damage, durability, hybrids, and mana-less items are working well in our internal testing. True. I feel like most of the AP items now have mana, and although it's good, it shuns it out from other potential buyers. And sometimes mana isn't the stat you want. Like sometimes Trinity doesn't even buy Essence Weaver, and they're not using the mana passive. So I think mana-less items are fine, especially in the AP class where most items have mana. Most. I know some don't, but most. And the ones that usually don't are kind of contextual situational purchases. Bridge into tank or pure AP later. Like AD fighters, we don't think these champs need to build entirely within their own category of items to have a great item experience. Depending on the champion or game, we want them to transition into tank or pure AP items to finish out their build. This lets them get the full set of choices available in those parts of the systems offers a lot of flexibility. Okay, fair. You have the options, it's always good. Options is what we're here for. 80 fight items. Tailored defensive options. Fighters today only have one size fits all. True. Defensive options. In Sterax Gauge or Death Stance based on which champ you're playing. Very true. Very, 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 very true. We know how saturated top lane is. Regardless of whether the enemy team has more physical or magic damage, we want to expand to fighter-specific defensive items to give more specialized options. It's good and all, but like I feel like they just need to I don't want to say balance, because the thing is I just personally feel like Death Stance is a little overtuned by having flat damage reduction, so much so to the point that everyone builds it. Jungles, tops, sometimes mids if they have an AD mid, and sometimes even ADs. And like that's crazy. Like when the item is that statted well or just that good as a defensive and an offensive item. See, like Sterax Gauge doesn't find itself all the time. Like only for certain champs. So personally think as long as they're not super powerful compared to the rest of the items, it's fine. Core item diversity. Core fighter items like Black Cleave and Trinity Force bring fighter builds both the power they need and the iconic play patterns, but these aren't decisions being made by fighters early in their build. We want to sharpen the current options and introduce some new ones that can compete for the crucial early slots in fighters builds. As long as it's not Shojin, hey, that's cool. Like I know what they were trying to do with Shojin was pretty much this, but in practice it was crazy on some champs. 80 assassin items. Okay, let's see. Choices beyond ordering. Assassins have a few good choices around which items to buy first, second, third, but we think they lack a wider pool of more situational choices than most classes have. We hope to add a few more options so assassins have more build variety in the game to get. True. If you're an assassin that wants lethality, you pretty much build every lethality item. The only choice you say is, do I want to build Yomu's first or build it later? Or do I want Edge of Night or do I want Umbral Glaive? So more choices, always good. Intentional late build options. Assassins today have to fill out their late build by pulling up from other classes. Very true again. If Rengar goes late game, he tries to buy IE and other things that aren't from the assassin class. Many of these choices feel suboptimal. Also true. We're going to look at what types of items they need late game and where it makes sense for them to draw from other classes like fighters do versus having specialized options. True. Yeah. Very, 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 very true. Like, it's probably scarily true. I'm trying to think. So like Shaco and Rengar are the first that pop in mind because they start grabbing items from marksman, tanks, and mages sometimes. Like, it's ridiculous. But it's kind of hard to see what an assassin late game item would be like. So I'm just waiting until the day we get closer and closer. Tank items. Wow, they have a lot to talk about. Tank items. Ooh, Enchant. I can't wait to get down there. More options to adapt to team strategy. Tanks need to fill a wide variety of functions for their team, so we want to make sure that they have a build options to support them while getting them necessary defenses to be a meat shield. Do you need to match split pushing Tryndamere, hard engage on Ezreal or Azir? My bad, Ezreal. What the heck? Protect the Kog'Maw carrier. All those directions should be clearly supported by new options. I feel like we have this now, so I mean strengthening it I guess is kind of weird. Like if you need to match Tryndamere, you usually buy Warden's Mail, Bramble Vest, Frozen Heart, things like that. You need to engage on a backline here. You can buy Righteous Glory and Randuin's again. Protect the Kog'Maw, you can buy Knight's Vow if your support doesn't do it. So I guess if they just add more options, it's fine. I'm not sure how I feel with that one. Filled out magic resist options. The current MR options are a bit niche. Very, very, very true. I feel like they don't offer strong options to deal with teams that require effectiveness against multiple AP playstyles at once. True. I feel like the current MR items now are just used for their passives. They're not good clear stat sticks. You buy Adaptive Helm because they have Cassio and multi-ticking mages, or you buy Spirit Visage to increase your own self-sustain as a tank. And there's almost no in between there, because if you don't benefit from your own self-sustain, Spirit Visage looks like a kind of bad item on paper. And if you don't, there's no multi-ticking like Cassio pure magic damage, then it's kind of weird to buy Adaptive Helm. So then you go like Abyssal Mask, which is also niche because if you're a tank that doesn't do magic damage, it doesn't synergize with you. So I feel like there is a small gap that needs to be filled for that. Enhanced tank utility. Tanks create value for their team by being immovable damage soaks, while also providing CC and other utility. We want to create more items to showcase the utility attributes of tanks beyond their baseline defenses. I guess like Randuin's would be a good example. You get in the middle of the whole team, you click it and everyone's slowed. I wonder if it means like that. Late game capstone items. We've seen satisfying type of item across a few other classes that are only efficient when bought late game. We create satisfying capstones that feel like completes your build, like Def Cap. We hope to create one of those two items for tanks to be excited about in the very late game slot. Make it like Warmogs, or you could bring back Atmes and Paleo, or Atmes Reckoning, however you want to call them. Damage or something based off percent max HP, which isn't healthy for the game, so I don't think they'd bring it back. But something like that, where it's like percentage or insane amount of HP or stats for something else. Doesn't have to be damage, probably not damage. That's not healthy for the game for a tank to be doing that much damage. Oh, we're about the bottom. Okay, enchanter items. More options for build variety. The current enchanter item ecosystem is dominated by a few items that outshine the other options, to the point that the most enchanted builds are the same 3 items every game. Yup, Redemption, Athens, Ardent. I know exactly what you guys talk about. We think the pool of viable items is too shallow, so we intend to upgrade underused items to the viable choices and create some enchanted items for the new space. You know what? They had it. To be honest, it wasn't always like this. Shurelia's used to be pretty good, and it's becoming a little bit better these days. And Crucible was an amazing item when it used to heal. They could bring back the heal, but make it more skillful and have counterplay. So if you successfully cleanse something off your AD or your target with Crucible, then it gets the heal. But then if you don't, it doesn't get the heal. Like, I think there's definitely ways to do it, and I definitely think they're right. Ardent and Athens are just too much of a staple for enchanters. Like, to the point where people flame you if you don't got Ardent first and stuff. Like, it's very, very stale, in my opinion. It's like half the reason why I don't like playing enchanters for more than like 10 games in a row, unless they're very fun. Like, playing Lulu 10 games in a row isn't really my cup of tea. I mean, I'll do it, but like, it's not really that fun to do. Especially when you do the same like ability max, same item purchases pretty much, and the same thing. Like, it's very one-dimensional. Solve active overload. Slot active overload. Is this for wards? More than any other class, by far, enchanted items end up with many more actives than we would like in a single build. We're taking a few different approaches simultaneously to keep enchanted builds on the 1 or 2 active item sweepstakes that we think is ideal. Oh, they want to get rid of actives. Interesting. I mean, I kind of like that it has more actives because it makes you more like a caster and more option. Like, it shows skill for play essentially. I think that's good. But if they want to spread it out to other classes too, I mean, that's fine too. It just means that they're gonna move some of the actives now, probably like small passives. I don't know what they would do by this. I also don't think there's that many actual active like Zeeks and Knights are like passive actives. They swap once in a while. Then there's Lock and Redemption, and then the Voids. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like it's pretty essential. Because the last thing I'd want is Redemption to be like, oh, it procs when you're low HP. That would suck. I would want like it to proc when I want to proc. Very weird on this one, especially if they don't redistribute actives across all other classes to promote more skillful gameplay. More clear strengths on each item. A couple of items fall into the good at everything category. True. When they provide defense, CDR, healing, mana regen, and inactive. Looking at you, Redemption. We want to have more focused items on a clear purpose. Well, I mean, most of the items feel like this. Like defense, CDR, healing, mana regen. That's literally everything. That's Ardent. That's... Well, I guess Ardent doesn't give defenses, but Ardent's pretty close to that. That's Athens for sure. That's Redemption for sure. And it's like Shirelia's for sure. It's about the healing part. Like, a lot of items feel exactly like this. We'll continue to iterate and share our progress with you all as we approach preseason. We're excited to get this work on the PBE in fall for the extended period of time that you could all tinker and give us feedback for real experience. Yeah, I cannot wait. I mean, some of these most of these directions seem really good. So I would love to see these items in action, and I honestly can't wait for that because that sounds like it's going to be super fun. Well guys, I know this video is probably really long. If you stay to the end, honestly comment below if you liked the video or not and tell me what I could have done better. If you're all the way here, you're a real one, and honestly, I'd love to talk to you anytime. You could always join our Discord where we talk 24/7 about league, leaks, patch, anything related, and even catch games with us. And you know, if you didn't like the video, feel free to dislike it. It's okay. It lets me know that you guys don't want these type of videos. But if you did like it, please like it, as it helps promote the my video to YouTube algorithm, go to recommended viewers, and I would love to try to grow and do this as a full-time job. With that, guys,